Okay, y'all, so I have a what if video. This is a scenario that plays out like this. Marineford War. We're back there now, right? But instead of Luffy not having Gear 5, he has Gear 5 this time. And to make it even more, crazy for the opposite, he has his hockey master too. Basically, current Luffy's, you know, there in place of the Luffy that was supposed to be there. And everything else is the same. Everything. Alright? So Luffy still shows up late, right? They're fighting against the Whitebeard versus the Marines, right? Whitebeard, he causes the earthquake, boom, and the tries to sink the island. Akiji still freezes the ice. Um, Miyako tries to show off. Jozu throws his attack into the sky, basically showing that he's alright, but not, not like other people think. But besides that, Kizu shows up, Marco shows out a little bit. Not too much though. We understand. Marco's not beating Kizaru, but in this, chaos. After Oars got defeated, right? After Little Oars Jr. got beat, right? um, you got his leg chopped off by Doflamingo. Gecko Moria cut him in, Kuma, you know, shot him with the Ursa shot. Boom. He was, basically cooked after that, right? Or almost cooked. He, got him there. Luffy falls from on top of the ice because when he was coming through the gates of justice, it was at the same time Whitebeard used his, quake fruit. Boom. This time Luffy's in gear 5. Like he sees the people that are there and he just like boom, boom. And the lightning goes crazy and they see him and they're like, what the, you know, is that your grandson, Garp? Yeah, that's my grandson. He's, I had no idea they could do that. And he's like, this ain't a fucking game. We gotta get on this shit now. You know, so Garp might actually get up and running quicker too. Because now we have Gear 5 Luffy out here on the battlefield. He still talks to Whitebeard and he's like, I don't want to fight you right now. I want to get my brother. That's why I'm here. And he's like, okay. Luffy gets up, he actually smacks some people away. He gets to like the 3 admirals and he ain't even fucking worried about it, right? He's fighting Kizaru a little bit, but he's not worried. Like, he's not really sweating that shit like people think. They try to chop Ace's head off. Crocodile still pulls up like he did in the normal timeline. Cuts them down. Luffy actually gets the keys, gets past them because he's gotten rid of Kizaru. So who's fighting Akainu? It's Whitebeard. Whitebeard's still fighting Akainu. And Akainu is, putting, working on Whitebeard, right? But we know that, we know what happened, right? Garp is getting on the move. Well, he did try to, and Luffy, packed him up, or it looks like he's out. You put some damage on his grandpa, and he's just out, like just laying down, acting like he's out. Sengoku's kind of pissed off at this point, but Luffy continues to battle on. Okiji, tries to step forward after Ace is freed. Ace and Aokiji actually have a better showing, and Luffy helps Ace get rid of Aokiji because he's watching him and he's like, oh, let me just help you out with that. Boom, and it hits him real hard, and Aokiji's like a little bit shook, like Kizaru was. Now, Akainu left Whitebeard He just, up and like did a little vanishing technique, you know, you smoke. And he's like, I'm coming for you, Ace. This time, Ace and Luffy can fight against Akainu. And however put it, Akainu's getting his ass whooped. When it's Akainu versus Luffy in Gear 5 and Ace, it don't matter that Ace don't have haki, right? And he's, this version of Luffy's so powerful, he could fight Akainu by himself. But because of Ace's personality and the way Akainu talks shit about pirates, he won't stand for it. So they're both, fighting him. And Luffy just doesn't want to, because see, Luffy's not the same guy anymore, right? This is Luffy that is confident in his abilities and knows the peaks of his power, so he's not worried about Akainu. When he pulls up to the three admirals, he's like, I can beat any of you one-on-one. I just gotta get past you guys. And he does, and he actually gets Ace out of there, so it's successful. Ace's rescue is successful. Akainu gets packed up. Kizaru and them get, fucked up. Now, here's the thing that's crazy, on the side. Whitebeard does still have some damage. Instead of two holes, though, he has one. Because, like I said, Ace and Luffy took care of Akainu, right? So he got one hole from Akainu. And with that one hole in his chest, he's still gonna die. Just not that day. They get away, and basically Blackbeard comes there and he's at a loss. Shanks is too. He's still fucking with the Marines though. He's like, the darkness fruit. Any devil fruit users that try to come on him, they're like, they can't fucking, do it. But instead of like staying there and having a big ass speech, he's like, no, I can't do that. I'll make my moves and still make my moves. And he'll still probably make his moves, right? Because guess what? Whitebeard still end up dying. He ain't gonna live after that. Why? Whitebeard's condition, he ain't living from that, man. He's not the same man he used to be. That hole in his chest, it's a inevitability that he's still gonna die. Like probably like a week out. But Blackbeard knows this because he's like after that devil fruit. You understand? Because he thinks in that kind of manner. So he's like, we'll stay close to Whitebeard, because once he's dead, I'll just hop on board, grab the devil fruit, and make my way off. Now, does Blackbeard get beat by Ace? I don't know. I might have to make that video in the future. But as far as, Luffy getting there and saving his brother, and another thing about this is like Marineford is reduced to ground zero. Like there's no, like when Shanks arrives, he's like, this was supposed to be Marineford, but I see no signs of the Marines like ever being here. This is a wasteland, you know. Half of the island's floating away and shit like that, right? Because the battle got that ridiculous this time. And that's basically how that would go. If Luffy had Gear 5 during the time of Marineford, you know, if you ask me. But be cool, calm corner, and let me know what you think about that in the comments. You think he would have saved Ace, or you think things would still play out the same even with those powers? Let me know in the comments. And be cool, calm.